Sound check. So I'm Elliot Barber, I race cars. I'm lucky enough to race the Jans-backed Pioneer DJ Chev Camaro in the Trans Am Australia Racing Series. It's kind of like a NASCAR. So they're a controlled category, so all the cars are identical from a mechanical point of view, except we can choose what body we want to run on the car. So I run a Camaro body, and there's a lot of Mustang bodies, and there's also a Dodge body out there, so you can kind of pick what style you want the car to look like. But yeah, it's a one make category class designed so that everything's the same, so it should come down to the best team and driver on the day. So the racing's really, really close. It's really physical. We rub panels a lot, so we're constantly re-stickering the car and fixing the car, but it makes it extremely exciting for the fans. So the cars are really loud, they move around a lot, they slide a lot, they shoot flames, and it's just good fun racing. Yeah, communication is super important. So we have in the team 3 of the crew are on the ClearCom belt packs, communicating with themselves, but then also able to talk or listen to the car. And then via the listen technology, we'll have 2 or 3 people in the pits too that are just got the headphones on purely listening to then relay any messages if they need to, or just to be there and see what's going on while we're out there in a session or a race. So for us, the ability to be able to have a conversation without holding down a button to talk is huge, especially when we're back in the pits. Racetracks are extremely noisy, and being a support category, we're not always in pit lane, so we'll have areas out the back of pits where we'll be working from, and it can be quite noisy, and there can be a lot of people walking around, a lot of machinery and things like that. So for us, when we get back to the pits and we want to work on the car, we want to set the car up and have the headphones on and chatting by open communication without pushing a button while we're doing things just means it blocks out all the background noise and we can just solely focus on what we need to do. So we find that extremely useful for things like debriefs after a session. In a noisy environment, we just keep the headsets on and we just chat away, make our notes. I'll give my driving notes to the engineering team, and then the engineering team will then feed that to the mechanics to go and make the changes on the cars. It's just made such a difference to the crew from that point of view. Without having to stop, hold a button, talk, they're able to do what they need to do, so it's just so much more efficient, so much more clear.
So what we had effectively for, and this was the first time we tried this in Bathurst, where we had a portable rack, which one of the requirements was for it to be battery powered, because luckily in Bathurst we had power, but there could be instances where we haven't got power, so the requirement is at least an hour of all the equipment running. So what we had was a FreeSpeak 2 system from ClearCom, which had a transceiver. We had 3 belt packs, and all of this was housed in the actual rack itself, including all the chargers. And we interfaced a 2-way radio, which was also receiving race control. One of the benefits was that the mechanics didn't have to wear 2 packs, so one for themselves and one for race control. It was all housed into one. That 2-way radio was interfaced to Elliot's car, so back and forth communication. And again, we had the Listen Wi-Fi system hooked up to the FreeSpeak 2, so that any punters who walk to the rack can scan a QR code to get the app, scan a QR code to get onto the Wi-Fi router we had over there, which was password protected. So if you're not really meant to be there, you can't listen into the comms. And that allowed users to bring their own phone, turn on the app, and via their own headphones just listen into the system. And all that was required to sit external of the rack was the transceiver. So implementation was fairly straightforward. We even have a config file if something had to be replaced. We can just literally dump that file back and the system will be up and running the way it was. But again, with the main priority being deployment, being quick, easy and reliable, it has to work every time. When we presented the team with the rack, all we had to do was to spend about 5 minutes on a quick couple of sessions on how to deploy it quickly. What was quite interesting to see as well though is we would go on track at like say 8:30 in the morning. The guys would have taken the car apart already and we would see the rack deployed already and everyone's working with their headsets on. It was good to see them just use the comm system just to get around the noisy environment. And they praised the system saying, we never had this experience on track where we could just work in this manner. In terms of scaling the system, absolutely. The way the ClearCom systems are designed, we can have, if Elliot had a second car, for example, we can have 1 base station, serve 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. What really changes is the amount of transceivers we have. Each transceivers can handle a number of belt packs, but the system is quite easy to expand without having to buy another base station or another rack. You just need more transceivers. One thing I would say about ClearCom is how robust the system is in a busy data environment and RF environment. Supercars is notorious to have hundreds probably of belt packs around and transceivers everywhere and race control channels and all of this. So when it comes to sports like F1, high level venues and events and Olympics and all that, that's what really sets the brand apart and how robust it is and how much it can handle all this traffic and really, really noisy, challenging environments.
So when I turned up to Bathurst with the new kit, I think they thought it was going to be quite difficult to use. Once we set up and they realised it was super easy, they love it. I think we can be up to like almost over 100 metres away. We measured out, you know, in one of the trucks getting parts out while two of the guys are working on the car. So from an efficiency point of view, they just love it. And now that they're not having to repeat themselves or yell, you know, they get to the end of a day, the voices aren't destroyed, they can still talk to each other. The whole atmosphere just calms down when everyone can hear each other. They're not working as hard during the day because they're only doing everything once rather than 2 or 3 times. Everyone knows what they're doing because we can hear each other. So from that point of view, I think they've seen real value in having the ClearComm system.